Well, good morning, everyone. So nice to see you all. We'll wait for a few more people to come on and to come in. Shay and Jay are at a wondrous place in Australia on the regeneration tour. If your internet's stable enough, Shay, if you can give us an update, the two of you, that'd be awesome.
Thanks, Sovereign. Hello, everyone. So nice to drop in and connect. We've just taken a moment to drive down the road. We're in southeast Queensland on a beautiful property. It's over 1,000 acres in size. And over the last week, we've been on a bit of a mission. We've been putting in syntropic systems. We've done a big bush regeneration. We've been planting loads of vegetables and loads of trees, and on a huge journey of educating through workshops and talks and connecting with a large group of people. I think there's around 5,000 people currently here in the space for the Earth Frequency Festival, which is a music festival geared towards sharing love and sharing the awareness of taking care of the earth. So Jay has been leading a couple of the discussion panels and the workshops. And at the same time, we've been documenting it, filming it, which is really exciting because then we get to share this with the world as well. And we've been working really hard to get it out as soon as possible. So it's likely it's going to be ready in a couple of weeks. And it's just been a really fun journey to drop in and connect to the community here, because there's so many people who are gathering and camping and spending time on the land who want to contribute back to the Mother Earth. The discussion panel that Jay and Annalise and a variety of other permaculturists led the other day was all about food security and food sovereignty during a pandemic, which we're moving through right now. And it was really potent to empower people with the relevance of just simply saving seeds and sharing seeds and reclaiming this simple little tool to be able to be empowered to grow our own food in an organic, natural, and really abundant way that we're able to share surplus and be in community together. And so yeah, it's been a pretty epic week. We also got to show the film, The Regeneration, which was really well received by a lot of people, and it's felt really good to be here on this land and with this crew of people. And the weekend we've spent celebrating and dancing and boogieing to the music and getting the good vibes going. But Jay, is there anything else that you feel is relevant to share on that? How you been going?
Yeah, you said it really well, Shay. Hi, everyone. I'm Jay, and yeah, it's so beautiful to be able to capture and store the energy. In permaculture, the principle we talk about, of observing and interacting, and that's definitely what we've been doing this week. Is really documenting a lot of this information so that it can be shared while we're actually also both being hands-on and integrated in the workshops and involved in the farm, the food garden that produces food here as well. It's an organic garden that's joined into the larger sort of property, and the festival comes into that. And over the last few years, we've developed a relationship with the owners of the property and the organizers of the festival to utilize the energy of more and more people coming to the site for something more regenerative, something that leaves a more of an impact than trodden grass and lost tent pegs, for instance. So it feels really good to leave that and know that we're planting seeds and ensuring that there's food security for people. And the property has a really interesting history. Was that it was set up in the late 70s when the scare or the realization about peak resources, peak oil, and the rising demands on our agricultural systems, and the owners, wanted to have a space that no matter what, it would be able to house and hold, basically a whole community. And it's been a while, but to see it developing now, it's really good that so many people are really switching on to, well, what would I actually do? What are the main important things that I need, that if I can't go into town or if I can't visit people, what do I need to have around me, in the instance that there's a worldwide issue. So yeah.
Yeah, great. So awesome. So nice that you guys are willing to take the time to tune in with our Monday. For some of you, it's a Sunday evening circle. We didn't send out a reminder, so good on you for being your own timekeeper on this. And so nice to sense that you're all here. Shay, you're there also documenting what's happening, and I'm just curious if you feel to share a little bit with what your project is, because both Shay and I are a little bit um, engaged in other things that aren't necessarily as much. I haven't been on the call on Thursday, neither has Shay. Just really prioritizing sleeping is a good thing for me. I've worked it out. I didn't think it was so relevant for a whole year, but catching up on it feels kind of good. But at the same time, I'm also engaging myself locally more in projects, getting my hands in the ground. I've been in online land for so long, stirring and driving so much. Now that Sasha is in America and the tour there is unfolding and taking shape, I've very gladly, as an executive director in this Humanitat Foundation, kind of delegated all the relevant parts and pieces to other people that may drop them like little light bulbs on the floor, or not, and that's fine. We'll see what happens. But in that, I've retrieved me from a very intense engagement over what is it, 14, 15 months. Just curious what you're up to right now, Shay, because our communication has slowed down. We usually check in 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. And there's been out of reach in Shay's land. What have you been up to?
Yeah, thanks, Sovereign. It's really nice to tune in and connect in here on this Monday. We've had to drive off-site to be able to get any sort of phone signal. So in this community space, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no phone connection, and it's pretty off the grid. But the last week in the documentary, the documenting process, we've been following the story on a day-by-day process of all of the positive news of people getting their hands back in the soil. And so part of the retreat experience and part of the journey of the earth frequency and grounded is that we've been teaching, I've been filming, and the permaculture teachers have been teaching what syntropic systems look like, and how to work with nature to harness that energy to grow an abundance of food to be able to survive, essentially. And then also other elements of seed saving and propagation and bush regeneration. And so on a day-by-day process, there's been a variety of activities, some amazing food, and I've kind of been filming that journey as we've been going, and sharing the good news, the positive news, the inspiring stories of people working towards an empowered state of being where we can reclaim our individual personal sovereignty, but bring that abundant surplus to our communities, those who are around us. And part of this journey that we're on, we're going to be heading up to the Sunshine Coast to a festival called the Prana Fest, which is geared towards self-development, kind of inner work. But we'll be showing the film there, and we'll also be documenting some of that journey, and really just getting the message out to the world, the importance and the relevance of these simple, sometimes overlooked acts of love towards the way that we care for our environment and the way that we care for our friends and our family, and just really continue to inspire and give people that sense of hope that there is, you know, a positive way that we can look at this opportunity that is potentially seen as a crisis for many, but how do we see this as an opportunity for us to connect deeper to each other, connect deeper to our environment, and connect more deeper to the simple fundamentals of our needs and our existence on life on earth. And that's clean water, clean air, clean food, clean body, clean relationships, and a really nice, clean and clear community. And so we've been really dropping in every day to a sharing circle. We've been sharing meals. We're really just embodying all of the wonderful things that we talk about in this online community and putting it into practice in the physical living flesh. So it's a really, really fun opportunity just to practice. And that's the way that we're seeing all of this, is this a practice for us, and we're all navigating through this transitional time, and we're doing our best to be able to work out what is it like for us as humans to live in this natural way together. How would we do it, like, you know, in a more succinct way that is going to come from a place of service to those that are around us. And it's been a really, really quite eye-opening journey. It's been super fun, more than anything. And we're having a good time, you know. We're playing music, we're singing, we're dancing, we're enjoying ourselves, and it's yeah, it's going really, really, really well. So I'm excited to share the videos with you. That's a really big part of it, is we've been documenting it because we want to also inspire people also that to realize that we can all do this together in our own little ecosystem, in our own communities, in our own space and time. And that's why I feel these online connections are relevant and important, because we can share these seeds of love with one another, share this sense of hope that we can all be empowered to take that upon ourselves to, you know, connect with those who are in our surroundings.
Epic. It's so nice. And it's so nice to see you there with Jay. It's awesome. Jay, for those of us that don't know, you've been involved in permaculture and syntropics now for, well, a large part of your life. But just give people a little bit of insight as to what you are facilitating, what you're bringing to the conversation, because this is an ongoing conversation. This is not something that we're just starting and it's like a one-time off event. And this is a conversation that keeps ongoing. And it's, in many cases, in my own experience, it seems for the majority of people out there, a bit of an overlooked subject, as Shay says it, and yet that earth connection is what brings the deeper fulfillment. What are you sharing? What are you bringing through from your learnings and what you've been given and the shoulders of the elders that you stand on? What are some of your thoughts in what you're navigating?
Thanks, Sovereign, and thanks so very much, Shay. Thanks everybody for this chance to share my passion and my inspiration for the earth, that comes from the earth, in that sense of connection. So I realized that more now than ever before is a time to remember our connection and remember these things that have been forgotten or distracted with modern society, and still be able to embrace the joys and the pleasures and celebrate the world that we live in and the technology that we have to share our message. And from my heart, I really offer that opportunity to reconnect, and I facilitate events, workshops, courses, classes, and even clientele to reconnect with themselves through food and through their garden. And my role primarily is that project manager, in a sense, to see gardens being built, to see landscapes being designed and implemented, and to gather with as many people as possible, but those that feel it's relevant, to offer a part of their life in service to our mother, to our great mother. And 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 in that, what I see is, uh, actually, to use the saying that a business coach gave me one time was, when I was really working out the message of what I'm doing, and to get it to a wider audience, is to sell them what they want, but give them what they need. And that helped me understand really what it is that I'm doing. Is is I'm selling a garden, I'm selling a course, I'm selling a workshop, I'm selling my energy, my life force energy, for the opportunity for people to gain the skills and the knowledge of the know-how of literally how to take a shovel, how to take a seed, how to take soil or food scraps, and to turn it into something that is growing and life-giving. And and when I work with clientele, I sell the landscape design, the self-sufficiency. I want to live off the land. I want to raise my children, with chickens, and I want to understand how, I could have this idea, which for a lot of us, the Garden of Eden, is very much an ideal, and in some cases we know it's a reality. It's true. A lot of people have had glimpses, or chances, or opportunity, or may have experienced that from their growing up, and in one way we lose connection, or feel a sense of separation. And as I'm sure Sovereign's probably spoke on, that primal separation that occurs when we're birthed into this reality, and the healing that's to come on this journey that we have as beings. I truly believe that what I bring is an opportunity for people to heal the connection with the mother, which gives us the elements, the vitamins, the minerals, the building blocks of life, to get the soil under their fingers, and to feel that, and to put the seed in the ground, and to watch it grow, and to remember that creator, ultimately the creator that's in us. And in that, I now come to see the benefits and the results that people get with the relationships with themselves and the relationships to other people, when they're more grounded, more connected, and more aware of the individual part in the greater food web. It's not a pyramid food chain where we're just top of the chain. And we're part of it. And that's what I believe permaculture really encompasses, in the way of life of, the ethics of caring for the earth, caring for each other, and sharing what we have, the workload, but also the yields and the abundance that comes from that. So seeing that growth in people has continued to fuel me to show up and to do the work on myself each and every day, to admit my failures and to learn from my mistakes, and lead with my heart, as my brother just shared with me, just the other day, that, wow, when you lead from the heart, it's so powerful. And yeah, so thank you all for just, yeah, being able to hear, listen to these words, and to share that. And my trust is that through this transmission, through this, there's a little tiny seed of that remembrance of connection. And thank you all. Bless.
One last element that I feel is relevant to share, that this week has really encompassed for us, is the integration with Indigenous culture and Indigenous mob on the land here. And we've really kind of received the blessings of the local Aboriginal people of the land, where they've come to support the project, and they've come also to share their wisdom, and we've received the knowledge of the elders. And they're, what I really love when they were speaking is that they are also remembering and learning, and they're willing to, you know, show up and be a part of the community and work together. And they have this beautiful thread of connection to the land that we're on, and that we're all uncovering together this really supportive network that is helping to really explore what it takes to be able to live with the land, as not as if we own it, but as if the land owns us. And without taking care of the land, then we can't take care of ourselves. So it's been a really important process just to fully acknowledge them and to learn from them and to work with them in an integrated system. So that's been a huge element of the last week here too, which has been really nice.
Epic. Wow. Yeah, thank you both for being who you are, and such a gift that I receive in knowing that you're, you know, a voice for this and sharing this out and then documenting it and being able to allow more people to find their connection again, because it is such a foundational element to our whole being, nature as a human, as I understand it. And it's like we just, you know, this is where I use my we cannot live outside of nature and outside of this earth. Well, if we want to, but it's going to be, you know, breathing alone requires the trees. And so the interconnectedness of all of life is something that in a recurring manner benefits being, for me, being in the space of receiving these like, oh yes, that's right, oh yes, that's right. I know all of this internally, and yet it's just so beautiful to be connected with you, hear what it is that you're doing and what you're shining through for the next generations to come. It's so inspiring. Thank you both. Bob.
G'day. Hi, Shay. Hi, Jay. Love what you're doing. How can I put it? Yeah, we're all unique, but all roads lead to home, don't they? All roads lead to home. And I just get this feeling, and so many people are sort of frightened by the big problem. But like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Me, myself, I don't own any land, but where I am, under my lovely mango tree, I built 2 raised garden beds, composting toilet, and recently I just had my first crop of cherry tomatoes, which I got from the rotten tomatoes I had got from the supermarket, and just threw them in the garden bed, and they just went berserk, you know. And that's where my focus is now, apart from the inner journey, which I think is paramount. But every day I'm looking at ways of how I can more embrace what nature is so willing to give freely. You know, everybody can grow something that they eat. Even if you're in an apartment, you can, you know, have a pot plant and grow some chilies or something, you know. Everybody can do a little thing. Everybody can do a little thing, but if you put all those little things together, it has a big result. So I would encourage anybody, you know. The only problem is I haven't found how to grow pork chops, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it, and I think one day soon I'll just take a little video and walk you around my feral camp and show you how I live, because I couldn't be closer to nature if I was Tarzan. Oh, you know, swinging through the trees at 68 is not really my sort of modus operandi, but you know what I mean. For me, I just sum it up. Nature is nurture. Science is the sickness and nature is the cure. I think And, you know, you drop from science's headspace, but nature and nurture is heart space. It is so simple. Just everybody get back to heart space. You were born there, and then you were beaten out of it. So grow, 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 grow your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. My life is a bloody dream. I'll shut up now.
Great, Bob. Such a legend you are. Show us in one of these days. Take the computer out and walk us around your Tarzan environment. I'm very, very curious, and it would be nice for that to happen. Anybody else feels to walk us around their little backyard garden project, that'd be something really lovely to document. And
Yeah, I'll do that, mate. I'll do that.
that's great. Nice.
It's a bit feral, but I don't give a toss. And that's the secret. You know, I am content with me. And that contentment didn't come from outside. That contentment is a result of the inner work. Wow, that was a bit serious. Enough of that, Bob.
Yeah, that was a deep one, Bob. Wow, very nice. I'm gonna have to listen to that one again. Yay. Karina.
Hello. I would like to say I've been thinking of Shay and Sovereign, both of you, for a few days now. I watched one video of, I don't remember which one it was, but the man had put a meandering trail, and then they were planting the trees in this certain manner, and then below those trees they were planting certain things, and it really showed how he was taking, it was somebody in Australia taking a very dry, arid, barren something, and then within not too very much longer, having it show really beautiful growth. So what I want to just say is I've started my little experiment of peach pits and pinon in tree start. So I'm putting them as teams, and also my garlic and my ginger starts. But I just wanted to invite everybody and anyone on this platform that if they're in this area, I'd like to offer our land here as an experimental place for, because I don't know enough. I mean, I can do what I instinctually do with my limited knowledge and with researching that I will continue to do. But anyway, it's been on my mind these last days that I just want to offer this place, which is solid. It's in my family's ownership, whatever that means. Whatever that means. It's solid, but I don't have enough information on my own. And I would like, if there's somehow a way to get, I don't know, some kind of experiment happening here where people could help me learn stuff and try stuff, and I could try to fundraise or whatever to see if it could happen. But that's what's been in my heart to really just put out there, is that I don't know enough, and I want to know more about taking care of this dry desert. I mean, I take care of what's here, and I nurture the junipers and make sure they're happy. But when I saw that guy's video, I realized, oh, okay, this is like college level compared to my little preschool level. So anyway, I'm doing my little experimental growing, but I want to invite anyone who's near me, or even Sovereign and Shay, if you're not near and you are coming this way, or where people are coming this way, I'd absolutely welcome this place to be something that people could experiment with.
Great. Beautiful, Karina. People are asking in the chat where you are living in your locality.
I live in New Mexico, and I'm south of the capital city, Santa Fe. So it's a high desert.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, awesome. Well, if anybody felt the calling to chime in my own experience, what's really relevant is to comprehend the climate and to look really at the original people living in that area, so what they've been growing. And that's really easy because you can just look at what their staples are. And so we're talking about beans and corn as the companion plants. It's just that they haven't really been that much focused on the kind of restoration or the regeneration of the ecology to a forested environment. And that's just from my limited knowing. Is because climatological zones and zoning is a reality. But it doesn't mean that you can't grow trees there, because you can just drive around and see which trees do grow, and include make a plant list. And that's really where things start if we want to start growing anything. Look, Bob is in a place where I used to live close by, that is just, it's like you stick a seed in the ground and give it a bit of water, and off she goes. And so that more subtropical or tropical area is teeming with life. It's very easy to get things going, but then it takes more management to actually keep the intensity of growth from not overpowering what it is that you actually really want to see and make use of. But yeah, the traditional plant species in your ecosystem are really relevant to comprehend what they are, get their names, start being able to recognize them as you go for a drive. And you're like, it's still for me, I'm in a car with a friend, and she gets a little bit upset because I seem to be not present. But at 80 kilometers or 60 kilometers an hour, I'm looking at all the trees, and I've got all these names that I'm trying to, like, I'm studying the leaf patterns, and I'm looking at, okay, and I think that's a breadfruit, but that's a different breadfruit. And so every time I'm in a different ecology, I am like this kid in a candy store. I'm hyper distractive. I got ADHD. I'm probably bipolar. I'm not available. I'm dialed into a higher dimensional reality. And what it is that I'm really doing is, like, I see the grasses on the side of the road, and I'm like, no, that's not bunya grass. What's that kind of grass is that? Oh, it's not guinea grass neither. It's nice. It's small. And what time is it now? And how long has it grown? And so that's where I engage myself in when I'm in nature. It's just like, because there's all these patterns, there's all these sequences, and there's all this succession that happens in nature that we can open up to. And it's not like it's stressing me out. It's enlivening me. It's the patterns of nature are communicating to me what they are being, where they are at in their growth cycle. And it's not like, look at me, this is what I'm doing. It's just like this utter peace and beautiful coherence in the field around me. And yet, as I put language to all of that, I find that there is a lot of information. I'm being informed because I'm willfully opening myself up to put words to what it is that I'm witnessing. And our language in that is very, very relevant, because without language, I can look at 100 different trees out in the distance, and I'd have no idea what I'm looking at, just trees. And yet all of them have their own biological functions. They are in a shared community. They produce different seeds or fruits, or some of them are good for timber, some are fast growers, some are slow growers, some are the hardwoods, some of the really soft woods. And what can you use those for? What can you not use them for? And so what I have a tendency of doing is to study the patterns around me where I am in nature, learn those names of those plants, and get curious. And because that is information, that is living information, that really allows us to feel more connection. You can walk through a park and have no idea either what type of grass you walk on, or what type of trees are there, or what type of little flower comes out at the base of the tree that just says, hi. Cuckoo. I love knowing the sound of those little plants, and then working out as I go online. It's like, oh my God, that is just totally a medicinal herb. And if I ever have whatever I may ever have, I could just go there and probably in that area find nature's medicine for my own cells. I see that there's a huge connection between where we live and the medicine that naturally is growing. It's just that I haven't put myself in the equation of being in the knowing, in the knowledge of what I can inform myself with, because it's just waiting there for me to inform myself with it. And so that's definitely one recommendation, is to make that list, start studying those lovely trees, and you know already some of them there. We all do. But to expand that knowledge base is for me a way to feel more present, to feel more belonging. And then that's just from a mental place. When I actually want to belong on a piece of land, or when I feel I want to belong in a community, when I feel I want to belong to a certain demographic, the way to belong that I have learned really has worked for me and made a huge difference is to use my hands, use my head and my heart, and engage. And so when I lived in Vanuatu and I started to putting in place a garden, and I started to landscape a little bit of the area around the house that I was living, and I was at the same time mapping out the food forest around me. And I was creating some designs of what I ideally would like to see, but then I implemented some of that designing, and I got my hands dirty. All of a sudden, I belonged. All of a sudden, I became part of the ecology. I wasn't just a visitor that came in, that kind of looked around and said, oh, we could do this, and this, this, and this, and this. And that's where you can do that. And that's where you can do that. And that's where the spring is, and da, 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 da. I actually took the shovel, dug the soil, got my hands dirty. I was allowed to help build my own little house out of, a locally felled little timber wood, because these guys thought that, a white guy shouldn't be building a house. They had some ideas about that. And so I engaged with the landscape, and all of a sudden I felt at peace. I felt at ease. And I learned through that experience how not at ease I actually was, how I was actually coping with thinking that I was, but that came from a kind of a dominating frequency, not one of belonging, not one of interconnection, one of, I just use my brain and my intellect to know where I am, who I am. It's all coming from here, and I'm using this. I'm a nice person, and da 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 da, and I can connect with humans. But it's that connection in the ground with the earth that really allowed me to feel, oh, gosh, I don't even really need to talk with people anymore. And that was a great insight. So it's that witnessing, and then it's the hands connection to the soil. I think it's very beautiful. I'll pass it on from here. Claudia, tell us something about food, seeds, growing. What a great morning.
Yay. So excited to follow you, because everything you said was just making my heart leap out. Everything you said is about the book I wrote.
Ooh.
The Art of Sacred Gardening, Creating Beauty and Abundance in Harmony with Nature. It's all about paying attention to everything that's around you, looking at the subtleties, looking at everything in the interconnection, and looking into your heart and seeing, what do I like? What excites me? What do I love? And it's all exercises on how to do that. Each chapter, it's really cool, and I'm all out of them, and I have to get it reprinted. And it's all photography, and I do photography, and it's like my intimate connection with the plants and with the flowers. They totally respond when I get there with my camera. It's like unbelievable how amazing it is. So what you're talking about is so amazing. And here I'm thinking, I'm on this little island and I've got, God, I'm not doing anything. What do I have to share? You know, all my skills are just like stopped. But it's not true, because as I hear you talking, like, what am I doing? I go hang out with this little 3-year-old twice a week and more. Lots of little kids, but what do? We go into nature. She knows the common names, the Latin names. She knows the edibles. She knows the bugs. We're eating, we're sampling, we're talking like there's no age between us. You know, we're equals. She's teaching me, I'm teaching her. We're loving tasting the plants and figuring out, oh, is this poisonous? And we go down to the ocean and she's eating the seaweed and she's just devouring it. She just loves it, and sucking the salt water out of the seaweed, and we're just, you know, building forts and playing games and like that. And I don't realize that, because it's so normal for me, that's what I'm doing, and I don't realize that it had the value of it, you know, because it's just, oh, this is just what I'm doing. But hearing you talk, it's like, oh yeah, okay, so this is good. and I will get my opportunity at some point to get this out, you know. I've always just wanted to build the garden sanctuary and have people, and I have, but I don't have it now. People come in and experience, what is it like to be one with nature, to love every single plant, to love every single bug, every single tree, know that it has a complete and total purpose for being there. Nothing, every weed, everything is absolutely there for a reason. It has a purpose, like you say, and just to be in love with it all, you know, and look at the soil, the sky, the clouds, everything's responding, everything, the clouds. It's like we are so part of our environment. And it's totally fulfilling when you're there, you're interacting with it, you've got your hands in the soil. That's what health is. You know, you get your hands in the soil and you love and you interact and you create, and the flowers come up and miracles happen like crazy. I mean, that's just where it's so at for me. And here I am, and I don't have land. I don't have a place to do this. I'm about to move again. I don't even know. So it's so nuts, you know, like I'm spending my life just moving around looking for the place to settle down and create this Eden, which I will create anywhere I go, because I can't do anything else but that, because that's who I am. That's who we are. But it's like so frustrating, you know, it's like I can't land. I need to land and do this. And I want to do it with others, you know, who feel the same way, you know, super excited about it and get it and look at it. And so I'm just like, it's got to happen. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. Because I'm just so worn out with just moving and moving and moving. But I have to surrender and trust that there's going to be reason for it, right? It's got to line up somehow. But I'm just so excited to hear you talk about the plants. Thank you.
Yeah, it's such a nice start of my week for sure, to dive into the natural environment a little bit more. It's beautiful. And yeah, I've shared a lot about it, and my follow-up course that I'm totally slacking on getting out, because I noticed that I don't love computers as much as I thought I love computers. I love plants a lot, so I just much rather just be out in the garden. And then I have this little nagging voice that said, well, you said that in April you were gonna. It is really awesome, because there have been the presentations that I did for the Brave New Life community, and I'm just a perfectionist, so then I don't get stuff done at all. But as soon as it comes out, it'll be made available, and it's just a great opportunity to get that syntropic mind song, that recalibration that is already all within us, to kind of get those strings strung in a way that our cells kind of do the remembrance for us. It's really beautiful. And nature is definitely part of my my orientation, how to foster community, how to look at human ecology. So nice, so nice, so nice. Barbara.
Hello, everybody. I'm sorry my camera's not working tonight. I had my operating system upgraded and I guess I haven't updated Zoom, so sorry about that. But I'm so excited to share tonight. I haven't shared for quite a long time. And Claudia, I wish you were here. I'm in Calgary, Canada. And I redid my property. I live in an inner city property. It's an old house. It's about a 72-year-old house, and it's got a sizable yard in it and just a little one-car garage that people call a shed. But anyway, I've been out all weekend in my beautiful garden and food forest, getting it ready to plant and planting some things. But I wanted to share, and I just, I'm just so excited because just what everybody's been sharing tonight about getting hands in the soil and learning about from nature and just being in the abundance of nature is, that's all I've experienced most of the weekend. I'm not wearing masks, so it's getting more and more difficult for me to go and shop, which is okay because I'm experiencing early harvest on my property this year. I have nettles in the back, so I've been eating a lot of nettles, and I'm eating dandelion, the whole dandelion. I actually did a little experiment. I do harvest my dandelions from the garden in the spring, and I roast them to powder them into a coffee drink. But I had quite a few big ones, so I separated them and I was roasting them, and I actually decided to eat them. And oh my God, the roots of these dandelions were like sweet potatoes. I've never done that before. So that was a great find for me. So yeah, it's been really great. But one thing I want to share is I'm in a cul-de-sac up against a beautiful park. And there's 5 little houses that were built at the end of the 1940s, 1949, I believe. And for years and years and years, there's our 5 little houses, and we used to all have big gardens. 3 of us, 2 of us still do. One of those houses was my 94-year-old neighbor that I took care of last year, and she died in December. So her house has now been sold and will eventually go down. And the house right beside me was actually torn down on Thursday and Friday. And it used to have a huge, beautiful garden in it that's been covered up for the last 10 years with whatever's growing out there, those things we called weeds. As well as some other stuff that was thrown on top of the garbage, or garbage thrown on top of it. But anyway, this beautiful little 1949 house got pulled down, and there was this huge tree, evergreen tree, that's about 2 stories high. And the guy in the big machine, he just picked up this tree. Well, actually, he had someone come in to cut it at the bottom, and then with his big bucket, he was holding it, and he pushed this beautiful 70-year-old tree down as if it was a toothpick, and as if it didn't have any value or didn't mean anything. I was just in tears over it. And I have a big, huge spruce in my yard, and I believe that that was my spruce's friend that got killed this weekend, or on Friday. So that's been very sad. And now I have a very spacious property to the west of me. What I was able to do was to go over and get soil from this garden, and it's just amazing. It's about 2 feet deep, and it's old, and it has never been sprayed with chemicals. And it's for the 23 years I've been here, I know it hasn't been sprayed. And the soil is phenomenal, and it's full of earthworms, and people just don't see the value. Like that's the gold. Like everybody's walking by in the neighborhood missing the gold in that backyard. But I've been out harvesting it, and I've grabbed many, many wheelbarrows full of it. I'm going to go get a couple more tonight. Anyway, that's sort of what's happening with me. And I'm just so excited that to hear other people talking about permaculture and having their hands in the soil and enjoying all of the abundance of nature. And I would love to be doing more of what Jay is doing too. I do have a permaculture design certificate and have been using it in my own property. I have 2 sisters who live about 2 hours away from me who have decided they really need gardens this year. So I am doing some consulting and helping them put their gardens together, and I'm gathering all this soil to bring as much of it as I can to them also. So anyways, thank you for listening. I just wanted to share that. And yeah, it's just so wonderful to be out in the garden and eating nettles and dandelions and chives and lavage and sorrel. That's what's up in my garden already, and looking so forward to getting more seeds in the ground and seeing it bloom, and the abundance. It's just amazing, the abundance of nature. And there's just nothing better than the abundance and generosity of nature. And I wish more people could see that and see the soil under our feet. So thank you.
So beautiful. Yeah. The abundance of nature, it is such a wonderful thing. And that's what nature is really wired for. It comes so natural. It doesn't even have to stress for it. So somehow we have been, as a collective species, duped to one degree or the other to have our thinking kind of wired up in a slightly disharmonic way. And that's the beautiful art, and I guess the training for many of us to reharmonize ourselves with our own human nature, which is tied to our the collective nature that is here, that operates on strategies and is wired in ways that it is observable, happening and growing and living continuously in these repeating patterns. And the apple tree that gives apples, and apple trees are apple trees. And everybody's like, yeah, of course an apple tree is an apple tree. But well, what if it gave oranges the next year? And it can't, because it is bringing its gift and giving expression to its form. And it's beautifully, perfectly ordained in that way. From my own observations, I can see that it's immaculate. And it's been beautiful training to get closer and closer into that sense of belonging with nature and feeling really comfortable in the space of nature. And it's really helped me to know more about nature, because then I can more easily feel at home in the space that I live. And so yeah, progressively I've moved further out of these city environments into the natural ecosystems, where I can plant my feet back in the dirt and walk bare feet, so that I can be connected. And yeah, there's so much opportunity, and all I have to do is look outside of my window. But that really pretty much goes for anybody. We only have to look outside of our window, and the sky alone is a beautiful reminder that we're living on a beautiful earth, where we can breathe the air. And I know there's a whole bunch of mongrels messing with our air, and humanity has been progressively there's substantial attempts to hijack us entirely. And all that really is doing is, because everything in life is performing a function with purpose, is for us to stand in our divine given centeredness, our love, our purity, our connection, and combining that with awareness, with our mind's intelligence, that, all right, so we're being lied to. So what else are we being lied to? And instead of getting all like, oh my God, they lied to us, and I can't believe that. It's like, all right, so they did that. Well, what else? And what else? And what else? Until we get to some sense of like, okay, it's really substantial. Okay, well, what do I do? Because that's the question that I ask myself in every instance that follows in some level of discovery what others are all doing. What do I do? And it's not to counter the effects of what mongrels are professing and progressing with sick and parasitic agendas. It's more about, how do I take responsibility for me, and how can I, through that compression that only happens here, how can I liberate myself to become more fortified in my being, in my knowing, in my truth that isn't so much based on ideologies, but is based on a living metric. If the war against life is to get us humans into a robotized, city-driven mentality where the bureaucracy drives basically human societal frameworks, what can I do within myself if human nature is all about individuated freedom, free will, sovereignty, love, and the expansion thereof? That's it's a good series of questions that I've been hammering on my own little my own little head, and the answers have mostly all come from here. So it is a combination of different aspects in my own experience, but the journey is really about going home within, going home to love, going home to connection, going home from being taken into whatever form of education program we ended up in because our parents thought it was the greatest or the best, or just that's just the way it's supposed to be. I like to call it what it is. It was education. I didn't learn anything about what it is that I'm tapping into now. So it hasn't actually, it is programmed and conditioned me, and that's fine. The question then is, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do in light of everything that I'm able to witness? And I like to just obliterate things into love. I like to just dissolve them into love. I just like to increase my love field so much that Bill Gates doesn't actually have a place in my neurochemistry anymore. Not because I hung him or killed him or no, I have some other fantasies for those kind of people. Um, I don't think we can hug them back into wholeness. I think that that's a total fantasy. But there's some really nice, particularly in the States, places called FEMA camps that you can turn into beautiful permaculture centers where those that have really lost their connection can really learn how to feed themselves and really be in an enclosed environment to be kind of in a forceful way um, offered an opportunity to reconnect with life because they somehow think that they're above it, or I don't know. It's such human damage. Um, but yeah, permaculture re-education centers could be something really nice. Meanwhile, we can just start our own community gardens. We can just grow food on our balconies and have our walks in nature and understand that that is the beauty. That's what we came here for, and to witness that, to be in awe of that, to be in connection with that, and to allow that nourishment to come through us. That's why I go out in nature and I get it's a lot of it beaming at me. And so when I have so much nature in my life, I go extra hard into the other direction because I got so much life force behind me. I got so much love. I got so much power just kind of offering me that space. Is like, all right, well, be your embodied warrior out there in the world and a voice for reason. So I feel that with what we're doing in our Brave New Life community, we're creating the breadth and the scope of the fields that we're navigating, that we have comprehension around, that we have insight into, that we are able to flip inside out and actually make use of its function for our own self-liberation, for our own homecoming. We are navigating complex digital ecosystems. We're navigating a complex sociopathic ecosystem that is having all sorts of really weird and wild and distorted effects in our human family through this gene therapy stuff. We're having an expanded awareness on the corporatocracy and the bureaucracy and how it is so much eroding and disturbing so much of our human ecology. And at the same time, we're saying, well, what are the solutions? What are the solutions? What is the function here for growth, for our individual beingness and our human family? What can we discover, and what do we benefit tapping into within ourselves? And yeah, in that space, it's love. And for me, it's become that word syntropy that really connects things in, that really allows me to recognize that there's language to articulate the interconnectedness of life and to find my place in it as a custodian, as a caretaker, as a gardener of nature, but also as a gardener of my own mind garden. And in that, as I speak, I'm so pleased that I get to share my comprehensions of our internal landscape, our internal human ecology, and to share around that so that others can feel from within like, oh, that rings truth. My cells say yay to that. And in that, I feel we're master navigators in training, looking at the dark stuff, the evil stuff, whatever we want to still label it, and using that at some level to cultivate love, to cultivate depth, to cultivate beauty. And so beautiful to just be here with you all. Ah, yay. Nella.
Hello. Hi. Yeah, so I felt a bit like a dormant seed here on the other end of the world in South Africa, wondering why I'm joining these meetings, but always just compelled to, and even just waking up now at 3 in the morning every Monday and being here. But I realized it's been my soul food, because I live in the most urbanized place. I live on the back of a highway that connects the whole of Johannesburg. Literally, it's on my doorstep. And there's trees that my mom planted. And I'm back in my childhood home. And really, like Claudia, so much connect that I want to be in nature with people like me, growing stuff. But I've done what I can here. I moved into a glyphosate Roundup laden garden. No life in it, no bees. And 3 years later, my childhood home, I've made it a little haven, but the cement is encroaching. The neighbors are loving to pave things and make space for their brides, our version of Barbies. And there's no like-mindedness. I know they're spraying their weeds, and I try and tell them it's destroying them. Never mind your garden, don't breathe that in. And then they bag their leaves and throw them away, and I'm collecting them for mulch. And I'm the mad woman who wakes up at 3 in the morning to see the moon, and it's time to go now. And thanks to this group, I don't know if I've expressed how grateful I am, because in June, I'm just taking a month off, and hopefully that will be the beginning of my brave new life. I'm going to the Western Cape to stay with my friend off grid, who's in Tilbach. It's just a little haven, a little cul-de-sac. You've got to drive in and drive back out. There's no thoroughfare there. It's just a little haven of, there's big agri there as well, but there are people doing restoring projects with rivers, and that's where I need to be. But there was no connection. There was such an abyss. Well, how am I going to leave Joburg and go there? And this group has been the movement that's kept me going, that I can finally just take that leap like so many others have. And I want to share that because it's been so, it was like such a chasm, not sure which, but it's happening. I'm driving away on the 1st of June. And, you know, there's been all this parallel work happening with my childhood home. I'm here living with my twin daughters who have actually left and gone to live with my sister. As I explored the tyranny in me, because it's not Bill Gates, it's not Fauci, I took that back. I took this advice. Well, what about everything I'm seeing out there? The hating the sanitizing and the masking. Well, what am I doing to sanitize and mask people and sterilize their conversation or things I don't want to hear? And how am I being tyrannical to my children? And my daughter announces to me yesterday that she's going to drop out of second year university. She's studying occupational therapy. And first I just wanted to be like my mom. Are you sure about this? And then, yay, she's leaving the education system of her own accord. Because really, even occupational therapy at university now, I'm seeing how everyone's just winging it. They're not really learning anything like what we're talking about, how to live with the land. They're literally winging how to pass an exam, to get through, to get a job, to follow the system, which then they realized wasn't what they wanted to do. They wanted to heal, and now they're just following this protocol. So it's all just a lot of Oh, got cats fighting in the background. So there's a cat moved in as well. I have an extra cat now to deal with, but it's all just happening. And thank you everyone for the support. That I've just been here without my camera because it's 3 a.m. mostly and I'm lying in bed, but I'm here with all my heart and soul. And thank you. I will now switch off my mic and go deal with the animals that are waking up as well. Lots of love, everyone, and thank you.
Wow, Nella, thank you for sharing. That is so beautiful to receive. Yeah, it's it really touches me. Showing up for months in a row with so much abundance behind me in my life. I've really thrown myself out in so many ways, and to create avenues for connection and to hear you share, it's just it's, yeah, it hits it home that this is so relevant what we're doing, and that it's mostly the continual every week showing up, even if it doesn't make any sense, or if the mind says, oh, I still want to sleep, or and it's so beautiful to receive this from you, that us being who we are as a community, showing up, and all of our faces becoming familiar and our names becoming familiar with each other, and we know where we are on the earth. It's just so beautiful to hear this from you, and it's such a reaffirmation for me that, yeah, this is relevant. This is beautiful. So thank you so much for the adventure that you're also about to embark on for yourself. It's such a delight to hear. We have Ruthie, and Yvonne has joined us. Is it Ruthie or is it Ruth?
It's Ruthie.
Yay.
I put an extra E on so you would say Ruthie. I just want to show you the garden that I'm taking care of as an earth steward for a month, since we're doing inspiration and beauty. So I'm going out of the house. See if I can do this. I'm going out on the deck. There's the chicken house with the wisteria climbing into the trees. This is High Sierra, Nevada City, California. So those are local trees. And then this is the garden I have to take care of. I have to keep the sweet peas picked so they keep blooming. So beans and chard, and you can see the roses are in bloom. It's just so beautiful here. I can't believe I have a month here to care for this place. I'm so happy. There's an orchard down there with a lot of young fruit trees. And then I don't think you can see the bees, but there's 3 beautiful handmade wooden bee homes. And the 3rd one was just populated last month. See, I don't think you can see the bee homes, but they're down there. So I just wanted to give you this dose of beauty and inspiration. The trees are ponderosa pine and oak. Lots and lots and lots of oak trees. So that's for everybody who is not in nature right now.
Yay. That's so beautiful. I notice that I start speaking Dutch when I get really overflowing in joy. I was just about to say, that is so mooi. But only Yvonne would know what that means. But yay, thank you, Ruthie, for sharing. It's so beautiful. Nature in such abundant ways is just outside of our doors so often. Yvonne, yay.
Heel mooi.
Heel mooi.
Yeah. Well, I made it. I'm so happy I made it because, as I, those of you who follow me or have heard me before, I am in the process here of, well, it's a process I've been doing for over 35 years of creating this new earth community down here on the Mornington Peninsula with all my beautiful students. And this morning it was just so vibrant and wonderful. I found it a bit difficult to peel me away. And then, of course, this hour difference has changed but I'm here and you're here. And you know what I notice so much at the moment is that our souls are finding each other. You know, we wouldn't be here unless we, were meant to be. And so this morning I was noticing that we had yet another new person at breakfast, and she was the mother of one of our other newbies, as we call it. And then one of my students that hasn't been around for a while came in for a takeaway coffee in this same establishment, and went, oh, there you all are. And she said, I can't stay, I've got the dog in the car and this. Well, an hour later, she was still there talking to the new person, and they felt like they'd always known each other. And they were just yak, 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 yak. And I just sat there and smiled, and I said, you could have ordered the 3-course meal by now. But it is this inner calling that I don't know if you all feel that. And that's why we're here together on this Zoom call. It is because our souls are looking for each other to be able to stay connected, but also to stay inspired and to keep hope alive, I guess. It's not a word that I like to use because now is there any other Dutch people besides us, Sovereign?
I think it's only us.
Okay, because I always think that hope is a little pile of what in Dutch. And so I don't really use it very often. Een klein hoopje. And this will make you laugh. And so I don't usually use it very much because we're such creators from within, but we so need each other, I've been drawn together and I just love it. At this stage of my life, I just hold the space and I just watch like all this is just evolving around me and in front of me. And it's just such a blessing. Don't lose hope and don't lose faith. Just follow the inside, and you're all so magical and so beautiful. And inside of everyone, there's this beautiful diamond. Just let it shine and know that we're on the right path and you're never alone. I mean, look at this, never alone. I feel so blessed, and I love you all so much. So go forth and shine your lights, all I've got to say. And
Nice.
I'm glad that I got onto the tail end of this group. Okay, love you so much. And Sovereign, there's been such a great response to our chit chat. So
We should do it again.
we should do it again.
I'm all in.
I really love that. So have a wonderful week, everyone. And I will attempt to get there a little bit earlier, but I always listen to it later so I catch up with what you all said in the beginning. Brilliant. Thank you so much for being here and being you.
Nice. Yay. Gosh, feeling the love is so beautiful. We have another 15 minutes left. And if anybody else feels to share anything as to what feels relevant and real, alive, yay, aesthetic goddess.
I've pressed my little thing to make the hand stand up and it's gone off 3 times. So I don't know what I'm doing. But anyway, you saw my hand. Beautiful, beautiful call. Yvonne, that was great. Absolutely fantastic. And Ruthie, having the flowers there were fantastic. But then to see that place and then to find out they had bees too, it's Eden. It's absolutely beautiful. Wonderful. One thing I did want to say was that a group of us have formed a doula group for this, these 2 calls, Sunday and Monday, Sunday and Thursday calls. And one of the things we came up with was that we would all go form a circle on the Brave New Life page for our area, and that we were encouraging people on the calls to do that also, because one of the things a lot of us signed up for was to have the connection with people, and we'd love to have it within our own area too. I mean, I am just blown away by the fact that we are talking all over the world right now. That to me is absolutely fantastic. And I would also like to meet with people in my area. So I have done one for North Carolina. Nina has done one for Canada. I saw several people on here tonight from Canada, so check that out. And then Vicky has done one for the UK. And it doesn't mean that we're going to be neighbors, as in right next to each other, perhaps, be nice, but at least finding out what's happening in our area, maybe events or things like that. And when we, the three of us that did it went on at the site and set it up, it's very easy to do. So we're encouraging you to please go on and set up circles for your area so you can exchange information. I loved what we learned tonight about the different gardening tips, and I didn't know that about that you could roast the dandelions, and I shall try that in the next couple of days. And anyway, so we're encouraging you to go set up or join one of the circles. We'd love to have you, and we'd love to have the connection to people. And I agree with Yvonne and Ruthie. We are in a special time right now, and letting our light shine is something that we need to do. I'm in North Carolina, as I said, and the governor just lifted the mask mandate for outside. So when I just came back from shopping, about a third of the people were not wearing masks in the store this time. So to me, it's lifting, and I'm excited. Yes, Ruthie, I'm excited about that. Definitely. So having y'all here and hearing your stories and sharings really, really raises my spirits and keeps my focus so much easier. And I bless you all for being here. You're quite a gift. Blessed be.
Nice. Well, there are some more updates that I feel may be beneficial. Otherwise, you can just raise your hand, and I'll pass the stick to you. But Imani, of course, is busy with the hemp house community development exploration. It's my own experience, community, whether it be online or on land, or whether it's just contemplating it. It's one of the most valuable endeavors that I have been able to connect to within my own exploration, because I can be self-sufficient on my own. I can have all the food and water and clean everything and be all safe from the government, and I have it all, and then really I don't really have a lot, really, because I'm just all alone. And so I worked out that the human ecology is what is being most affected in here on the earth through all the distortions that are programmed and socially engineered to be such. And how do we restore that natural human ecology? And that's been my field of study for many years. If anybody, I'll put it on here, can't really see it, but if anybody wants to dive into these deeper questions, how intercultural and indigenous approaches to human ecology can give us insight how we may reconstitute ourselves consciously with presence and awareness, to not repeat patterns of the past based on our ignorance or lack of knowledge as to what wasn't working. Because one of the silent, quote unquote, killers in my own experience are silent assumptions, or better put, unexamined assumptions. And that's what has happened for me a lot. And to be able to shine light on what I have just assumed to be a truth, or assumed to be something that's normal, something that is functioning. And because it's functioning, why should I question it? Well, is it really functioning? And if we look at our Western society, is it really functioning? And the truth is that
for my being, it's absolutely not, because there's people suffering. You know, you got great wealth on one side of the street, and the block behind it, you got people living on the street, and somehow these are different people, but they're all humans. And so if we're all one human family, how does that work? And I'm not saying that it's my job to fix that that divide, because the divide lives in me. That's where I can address it. And when I address it there, I get access, because I shine light on unexamined assumptions like, oh, well, that's just the way it is. Just like there's this program that war, because it's part of his story and everything that we've been told about that, seems to be just a continual sequence of war after war after war after war. And then we had the 80-year war, and we had this war, and then America, and then it went there, and it went there. And it's just like, it's just a one big war propaganda. And what it does on the subconscious level, at least as for me, it kind of made me somehow not believe, but create an unexamined assumption that war is just part of human nature. It's just part of humans. And it couldn't be further from the truth. That's just an absolute flawed perception that I didn't know that I had as an unexamined assumption, because I was just, oh, well, what do I know? I'm a young kid growing up, and here I am, and we're still doing war, and why are we doing it? And if we really question it, is we are a human family of love. So this is something that's programmed in for us, that we are then kind of being duped into participating out of some sort of narrative of control-driven fantasies of those that want to seek some sort of gratification for themselves, and they are doing their part. I'm very clear that, Ian may speak to that a little bit, but the awareness that everybody that is working on the quote-unquote dark side is just really performing a great, powerful function with purpose to discover within how they can turn our light and our love on. Ian, we had a little private interaction. Please, brother, we have a little bit more.
How are you?
Hey.
Yeah, look, I do just to come in on that, because I come at this whole kind of experience we're having, this transition experience of consciousness, from the perspective of yoga, i.e. the yugas. Now, I don't know how many of our audience will have heard of the yugas, maybe some, maybe not all, but the yugas were essentially, I'm going to call them a blueprint from the creator source to explore consciousness at all levels of frequency. We're in the Kali Yuga. Actually, we're just transitioning out of Kali Yuga. But Kali Yuga was I'm going to put it nicely, the way of experience consciousness, or exploring consciousness at very low frequencies, which is a nice way of putting, you know, the shadow side of human nature. It was never obliterating the light, but the light was heavily under pressure, which is why I said to you earlier that Gates and Fauci et al., they're here for a purpose. Their purpose, which they're fulfilling exactly, is to create circumstances wherein the rest of us are pretty much forced to wake up and raise our frequency. That's my feeling on it anyway. I mean, I never thought I'd say this. I've heard awakened people say, it's all happening as it's meant to be. And I thought, doesn't feel like it, brother and sister. It doesn't feel like it, but actually it is. That is the beauty of it all. And when I was listening to several of the people earlier today, Ruthie, and also I think Nella earlier, the woman from South Africa, I mean, it was just beautiful. Beautiful. Ruthie's back garden looks like a really nice version of mine, because we have fruit trees and we have all the vegetable plots, we just don't have bees. But we're kind of old and we want to limit how much we heap upon ourselves. But I just want to thank everyone today, because I got in late too, because I had other things to do. But it is such a joy to be communicating with all these beautiful souls from all over the world. So thank you so much for being who you are and being here. Thank you.
Nice. Win, if you want to close us out, that'd be beautiful, from New Zealand, the South Island there in Nelson. How
Yes.
are you, love? How is your heart?
My heart feels wonderful. I think I had some belief that because I cried so much, there was something wrong with me. I wanted to share what I've done with my garden, because what I realized is just how much I've done, even though I was healing. And the part of that was helping me was my garden. You know, so in the corner, I'm in a very small, a 1-bedroom flat, and the garden isn't much, but right along here, I've got chilies and rosemary and capsicum. So that's what I've planted along this bit. And to the back of that, I've got mint and thyme and basil and coriander. Oh, coriander, I shook all the seeds because a friend of mine said, you can't grow coriander. And I said, well, I had it growing out my drive in Shannon. So I shook all the seeds, and I don't want to eat it because there's so much coriander in my garden now. So I've got celery and chard and silver beet, and I had tomatoes all summer. It's freezing now, you know, so and I was born in Nairobi in Kenya, you know, and we used to get a lot of Cape gooseberries. I love Cape gooseberries. So I planted that, but he's bit the dust. He's found it a bit too cold out there. And I've got borage. I've done really well. So I wanted to acknowledge that and thank you all so much. Thank you for all the times I shared and every time I cried too. You know, it's been beautiful, and I love connecting with this, and we share around here, you know, so we share what we've grown, you know, and we're right here in the city and the motorways over there, but we do our little thing here and share our food with each other. So thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you all. That's so beautiful. We're gonna close out here, and I just always have a fantasy that it has to be with a song, because I don't want to just hit the disconnect button. I'm working on that. So let me just see what I can come up with. All right, I found something that I think it's called Garden Song. What do you know? So turn the volume up a bit. Thank you all for being here. What a wonderful morning to join with you all again. I feel really nice about doing a big share out on this call where we shared and get people to look in, because it was such an uplifting, inspiring, connecting. So many beautiful aspects were covered, and the focus being more because of Shay and Jay around, you know, getting connected with nature. Just so inspired about this call. So I'll be taking it out and trying to reach a few other people that may actually really resonate with this. And if you felt that you would like to do a reach out, I'm going to be uploading all the testimonials that we did a couple of weeks ago. I'm finally willing, because I've been detoxing from Techland. But my cells say, oh, I want to do it. I feel inspired. And that's what I wait for. Otherwise, I don't really act often anyways. But I'm going to be putting some of the testimonials that we did, well, testimonials, just people sharing how they're feeling about what Brave New Life community is, so that can be shared out to broader and further afar, so that other people may just benefit from the beauty of each of us being
contributors to what we are bringing together here. And I only have really I have heard, so Ian has asked me if I have heard of Stand and Deliver. Yes, I have heard. I haven't watched it yet, and I should probably have a look at it. He is now under great fire. Anybody that apparently speaks out on anything that's truthful these days, that has a bit of a standing in a larger circle of people, gets always nailed to the proverbial cross. And I had hoped that Uncle Eric Clapton would have been a little bit more woke, but he took the shot recently and has decided that it wasn't necessarily the best thing for him. So if you Google Eric Clapton Stand and Deliver, there'll be a little bit of a post on that. The song apparently is really good. It's doing the rounds. So maybe Ian, you can put it here in the link, and we'll listen to my very soft and feminine version of Stand and Deliver, because I don't have a lot of music. This is my medicine.